Intro. Welcome to reality. Autism. Failed.
Someone introduce themselves. Go.
We had to know, how
Okay. I was trying to
Listen, pause the video. Serious pause.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tyler Bergen. This is Quay Tomlin, Allie Tomlin, and Ellison Bergen, and you're watching Autism in Reality.
What's going on, everybody? We're going to talk about all of our lives with Coy today. It started out with me and Ellie when we growing up with him. It was really different having an autistic brother. But I know through my eyes, it never seemed like he had autism. He felt like he was a normal brother. He was always there with us. Wherever we went, Coy was. Whether it was with me on the baseball field or Ellie taking him to lunch throughout school. Coy has always been there for us like a normal brother, and we've never really noticed anything different just because of a disability. Growing up, Coy was always there with me with baseball. He always there throughout the first pitch, always throughout the last pitch. He was at almost every tournament I was at. He's always my biggest supporter, and even to this day, he still works out with me. And as he's grown into my relationship with my wife, Allie, he calls her nonstop. It's really funny how he sends her pictures of Mountain Dews, and she tells him not to drink them and drink water. He's always saying girl, because I don't know if he hasn't figured out how to say Allie, but I think he does.
He says it. If I ask him to say it, he can say it.
I feel like he just likes to say
it's
girl.
easier.
It's his love language to you, girl.
So this is his girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I feel like just because Coy's been autistic, he's never really had a girlfriend, obviously,
Allie,
because he's autistic. But I think Coy likes to look at Allie as not only another sister, but somebody he loves and who he respects outside the family. So Coy's always been there. He's always going to be the best brother no matter what disability he has.
Well, I want to go off of what you said with we've always seen Coy as being normal, and I want to credit that to Mom and Dad because we and Mom and Dad have taught Quaid and I that involvement in Coy's life is key, and that just because of his disability doesn't mean that he's not able to do things with us and able to be involved in our lives. And I think especially for me growing up, Coy was 4 years old when he was diagnosed with autism, which puts me at 1. So Coy and I grew up watching my parents learn how to handle all of these different things that were thrown at them. I was in kindergarten when Coy was in 2nd grade. And so going through elementary school with Coy, I always rode... What?
Major just groaned really loud.
Major, I'm sorry. Going through elementary school with Coy was different than, I would say, Tyler's experience in elementary school and Allie's because, they get to have that normal childhood where I had Coy that I was responsible for. I felt like as a 5-year-old, I was responsible for Coy, and I think that that's helped me grow into the woman I am today. I think about Mom and Dad have this in Coy's scrapbook. I'm sorry, you don't have a scrapbook. He got forgotten.
Third child.
No pictures of me.
No pictures, but there's tons of me and Coy.
Okay.
Well, there's a ton of pictures of Coy. But this one specific picture that I think it's in Coy's scrapbook of us down at the end of our driveway waiting for the school bus. And I rode the bus with Coy to school all the time. And just thinking about how Coy and I, through every step of the way of schooling, we did everything together. I was never a troublemaker, but I did get sent to the black bench in 2nd grade for beating up a 5th grader. Yes, I did. I punched a 5th grader on the playground because he was bullying Coy, and as a 2nd grader, I was not about to let that happen to my older brother, who just because autism made him defenseless didn't mean that I wasn't there to stick up for him. So that was my one time I ever got in trouble. But there's tons of stories that we're going to talk about tonight with Coy and all that he has helped us become as individuals and in our relationship with him as our brother. So
Okay.
I really like when you talk about, because I came in the picture in 2011, and that was kind of the very first thing that you taught me was to treat Coy like he was just a normal brother. And I feel like I've done that for the past 11 years, just literally don't treat him any different than I treat my own brothers. I'm the youngest of 4 brothers, and I mean, I've taken Coy as he's just another one, just like Quade is, and I pick on him. I nonstop mess with him, just like any little brother would do to him, like I do to my older brothers. And the biggest thing though with treating him normal would be I don't allow the autism to get away with anything. Like I don't let him to, like if he wants to go behind the counter at McDonald's and make a smoothie or a milkshake, I don't let him do that because that's not what normal people would do.
You could get away with
I mean,
that,
he
though.
isn't
It's quite
normal,
somewhat.
but the biggest thing, just act and treat him like there's nothing wrong with him. He has no disability. So when I'm out fishing or fixing the boat or playing baseball or coaching, anything that we do in our daily life, just treat him like he's normal and don't give him any specialties, really. That was my favorite thing to do because it makes him feel like
makes him feel equal. It makes him feel that, Coy doesn't, I don't think at least, I think Coy thinks we all have autism. I don't think he realizes that he's the one who has it. I think he thinks we're all like, what is going on with you people? But I think that is, the reason Coy doesn't realize he has autism is because our family and us as siblings and Allie and Tyler have done such a great job of making Coy feel normal, feeling like a teenager, feeling like a child and an adult as he is now, by taking him fishing. And I mean, Quade, he works out with you a lot for baseball season. Even in high school, Coy was a part of the Easy Glass baseball team, which is a really cool experience for him to have for his social skills and stuff. And even with Allie, I mean, I feel like he can't decipher the difference between, like Quade was saying, how you're his girl. I mean, I think because you have done such an amazing job being involved in Coy's life, that he really does think you're his girl because you've treated him so normal about it, that you haven't allowed autism to stop that relationship with him. And I think that is so key for being a sibling with an older sibling or a younger sibling who has autism or has any disability, is that their disability is the only difference they have. That doesn't mean that you treat them different. That doesn't mean that you push them aside because you know that something's going to happen with their disability and it's going to stop you from doing something. Like, we didn't go to Disneyland as kids. I mean, Tyler and I, we got married in 2017. I was 21, and that was the very first time that I ever got to go to Universal Studios, because Coy has autism, and that is an overload of sensory. So that was something that I didn't get to do as a child, but we did other things because the other things were able to keep Coy involved, which makes Coy be able to have those memories too that he should be able to have. I mean, you guys just got married. Same thing, you guys went to Universal for your honeymoon.
Yep, I had a sensory overload too.
I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure Coy thinks we all have autism.
But back to sensories and stuff, my favorite story ever of Coy, I wasn't even here for it, but whenever they got the diagnosis from the doctor will say Coy couldn't do a lot of things. And I mean, one of those being as simple as riding a bike. Like, he'll never be able to ride a bike. But I love the story about you saying, no, we're not gonna fall under the no, he can't do this. We're gonna try it until he either gets it or he doesn't get it, just like a normal brother or sister would do. And so tell us about when you taught Coy how to ride a bike.
So Coy was probably about 9 years old when he finally learned how to ride the bike. But that was because I was learning how to ride a bike, and my big personality and self, I was like, well, if I'm gonna do it, my big brother's gonna do it. And we got Coy on that bike, and we got those training wheels off, and Coy was a really good bike rider. He was able to do it. There's so many things that, where if you watch my mom and dad's birth story video, my dad mentioned the binder that they got from the initial diagnosis, or whatever that big word is. My dad can't say it either. And in that binder, there were all, like Tyler said, all these things that fell under this umbrella that Coy couldn't do. But we said no to that. We said, no, Coy's going to do this. Autism isn't going to be the reason he can't do these things. They can't do it, he can't do it. That's because he can't. Not because autism said he couldn't.
I mean, but even some things that he can't do, you never stop trying. Like, even for the 11 years that I've been here with Coy, it'll still be sitting on the couch and he wants to tell me something, and he wants to say some word as easily as like a chatterbait, which is a bait that I fish with and Coy likes. And he's trying to explain that what it does, and he's, giving me his hand motions, and so I figure it out by, breaking down, and then I'm like, okay, it's a chatterbait. And then I'll break down, talking to him, say chatter, and then he'll slowly break down the words. Still to this day, he's still learning, and that's just something you can't stop.
Mm-mm.
Like, that's something that's so important in his life, is just continuously learning.
So a backstory to Coy talking and stuff. If you did watch, I'm going to reference my parents' video again. You should definitely watch it, the birth story. It's great. Yes. But Coy was nonverbal pretty much until the age of 10, which I got to experience that. Quaid was one. I think you were in the picture. I think you were here. But the only things Coy really could communicate were spelling his name. He couldn't really say his name. COI is all he really could do. So I think about this one story, and you mentioning him talking brought it up. When I was little, we had this dog named Sandy, and she was a golden retriever, and we had her outside. And Coy's favorite thing to do still to this day is hit acorns out in the backyard. He has this yellow bat that he'll go out and he'll toss the acorns up and he'll hit it. So he was outside doing that.
Which takes a lot of skill, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of hand-eye
Able,
coordination.
not disabled. So he was outside doing this, and at the time Sandy was on a chain on one of our big trees outside and was outside with Coy. I was inside in our living room, and my mom had walked away to go to the back bedroom. Coy being nonverbal, I got this like instinct that like an angel had literally come and told me Coy needed my help. Coy needed my help. And I ran back to my mom and I said, Mom, Coy's yelling for me. He needs my help. And my mom's like, no, he's not, Ellie. Coy can't talk. Coy's not talking. And I'm like, no, Coy needs our help right now. My mom's like, oh my goodness, okay, what's going on? And so she runs outside, and Coy had Sandy's chain all the way around his neck, and he was face down in the leaf pile, pretty much suffocating. My mom got out to him, obviously, quick enough, and we got the chain off, but he had marks on his neck for quite a bit of time. And my mom and my grandma, who was here, I think my dad was away with Liberty at the time for fall ball or something, but we were just astounded that how did that happen? And I accredit it to God and an angel being there, and just like knowing my love for Coy and knowing that our sibling bond in our relationship. But you mentioning him not being able to talk brought me into my
That's
head.
a crazy story. It
Yeah.
really is.
I think going off of Coy not being able to communicate well with non-family members, I feel like once you're around Coy enough nowadays, you can kind of pick apart what words he's trying
Yeah.
to say.
But if you ever meet Coy, I tell everybody this. I told Allie this when she first came. Anybody I meet, the first word you got to tell Coy is no. If you don't tell Coy no right off the bat, you're going to be bending over backwards going to
You're gonna be
Chick-fil-A
That's
buying
part of
milkshakes.
my story.
You're gonna be behind the McDonald's.
Yeah, that's part of my story where, like, you take Coy, who up to the age of 10 couldn't really speak. Now he's at a baseball game with 3
Talking to
Gatorades,
everybody.
4
Yeah.
candy
Talking to
bars.
everybody.
I'm like, Coy, where'd you get this? And he's like, well,
If you want, drop a comment below. We're thinking about strapping a GoPro to Coy. at
Oh
all
yeah,
baseball
yeah,
games.
yeah.
I think that'd be one of the best
Oh,
videos you could
gosh.
ever come up
But
with.
here's the thing
Talking to everybody.
about Coy being at baseball games, who up until the age of 10, like we keep stressing that because he was not, and now Coy's name means silence, and there's nothing silent about Coy, is there? No, nothing.
Mm.
At baseball games, there's been quite a few games where Coy's mouth has almost gotten him the boot at baseball games.
Oh, yeah.
Especially.
You can,
Definitely umpires.
Yeah.
umpires. I remember, going off that, Coy's a huge Yankee fan. And I remember I was 12, I remember we went up to Nationals Park. Nationals were playing Yankees, which barely happens. But I remember, because my dad was coaching in the organization at that time, we got on-field passes, and we got to go down on the field during BP, during batting practice, and got to see some of the guys. But he was astounded because it was the Yankees. It's Joe Girardi. And if you know Coy loves Joe Girardi and the Yankees. And I remember Phil Hughes was a pitcher on the team at the time. Coy didn't like Phil Hughes. But anyway, Coy being his social self, and being the the communicator he is, Joe Girardi noticed Coy and told Coy to come out on the field. Well, me as a 12-year-old, I'm going to start acting autistic too, right? No, I didn't. But Coy got to go on the field with the New York Yankees. And we're like, what? I mean, we're talking Derek Jeter comes over. Robinson Cano grabs Coy, takes him in the dugout. And I'm like, okay, oh my gosh, like I can't believe this is happening. Anyway, they go back to the Turtle, and we're just casually watching Derek Jeter hit BP with Coy right there behind the Turtle talking to Joe Girardi. And Joe Girardi goes, Coy, there comes Phil Hughes coming out of the bullpen. You want to talk to Phil Hughes?
He sucks.
And as clear as day, Coy Tomlin turns to Joe Girardi and goes, no, he sucks. And Joe Girardi about fell out laughing. But it's a funny story because, Coy not being able to talk as clearly as a normal person, it is so funny. Always at the right time.
Does he decide?
He says something so clearly, and sometimes we're like, no, he didn't say that.
No, oh my goodness.
He didn't say that.
I remember, I'm going to say something about the Yankees too, but I played indoor soccer one year at our high school. I remember Coy was at the game. It was just like a scrimmage or whatever, but this girl had bent down and she was... Coy was there. She was on the healthier side of size-wise, and she bent down, and I'm pretty sure you could see her behind or whatever.
It was a full moon.
It was a very full moon, and Coy goes, oh my god, fat, pull your pants up! As clear as anything.
It was dead silent, too.
Dead silent. My mom goes, we couldn't come up with anything. That was one of those times that But thinking about the Yankees, with autism, there comes the sensory, and there comes certain things that, like I said, we can't do. Well, we had to go on this airplane back a while ago. We haven't ridden on one since I was 10. So if you can think about that, that's how long this was. And I don't know exactly where we were going.
It was coming home from Instructs, and Dad was coaching.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
With the Boston hat?
Yes, with the Boston hat. You want to tell, or do you remember it more?
I
just remember, like I said, Coy being the communicator he takes opportunities and he seizes them to say stuff perfectly at the most inappropriate times. But we were on this plane, and this poor guy, if he ever watches this, I'm still sorry. He walks on with a Boston Red Sox hat. And of course, Coy sees this hat and is going, boo, Red Sox suck.
Hounding this guy
the whole time. And we were like, okay, my mom apologized to the guy, and she's like, I'm so sorry. With Coy, we got to sit at the front of the airplane because of the disability area. The poor guy sat behind us, and the whole entire airplane trip.
He wore him out.
So we got off the plane, I think wherever we were, Raleigh, Durham or whatever. The guy who eventually heard so much of my mom saying, Coy, shh, Coy, don't do that, Coy, no, don't say that. He got off the plane, he met us at where you pick up your suitcases and stuff, and he goes, Coy, Yankees suck. There's just so many stories that we can tell about Coy and just the fun memories that we've had. I think of baseball. Baseball is our life. It revolves around baseball.
Right. I'll even going off what Ellie said right there, even if your child does have autism, it doesn't mean that they're not going to have a fun life full of fun memories like any normal childhood would have. I know Coy to this day still talks about a lot of these memories. He'll bring them up to random people. We'll have to explain.
Oh, yes, especially when it's not in the right context.
Yeah,
and it's because when Coy tells the story, it's like, oh my goodness, did that just happen today? Like, he tells it like it's happening today, and we're like, no, that happened about 5 years ago. But but I love how us as a family, we have normalized autism in Coy. And because of that, I feel like the community that we live in here in Virginia and Lynchburg, they have also normalized that autism with Coy, especially with our LCA family and our baseball community. Thinking about how Coy is 27, 28, and he comes in to close the last inning of the baseball games were at LCA and how everybody is just involved in cheering for Koi. Everybody, every teammate, every opposing teammate has just seen that it is important to build these kids up. It's important to build up kids who have autism, kids who have a disability, to make them feel as normal. I mean, Koi would watch Quade hit walk-offs or make the last play or watch Tyler strike the last guy out, and that's what he wants. He dreams of that. I mean, you ask Koi what his dream is, and it's pitching the World Series, in the World Series, Game 7 of the World Series, and striking out the bad guys. That's Koi's dream, and that's what he sees himself doing because he's watched Koi play baseball. He's watched Tyler. He wants normalization, and I feel like our community and our family has done such a great job to provide even the smallest opportunities like that for Koi.
I like, it's cool. It's kind of a God thing to notice my sister, both of our eventual soulmates is the right term, right?
Yes.
Or like my wife,
Spouses.
her spouse.
Spouse, significant other.
I got you,
I'm your
Brody.
soulmate.
Both of
Yeah.
our eventual
Okay.
spouses.
You can be my soulmate.
Okay.
That's fine.
Both of our eventual spouses have a Koi story before I was in the picture with her or he was in the picture with her. I know that her mom was at TRBC,
Oh, yeah.
and if you want to talk about it a little bit, she kind of remembers.
Was it a
Koi.
life group?
Yep,
or
a life group,
yeah,
yeah.
she remembers seeing Koi in your mom's arms when he was a little baby.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe baby, a little older
A
than
little
that.
bit younger.
Older.
Older,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, a little bit older.
Yeah, but
And just the fact that that stuck with her mom throughout, because she saw who Koi was and saw that obviously he was disabled. And I know this guy's seen him around the baseball field a ton.
Non-stop.
Yep.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, so I played at EC Glass, and Koi would pitch there. Like, we'd have him come out, be a bat boy,
This
whatever.
is before we started
Yeah,
dating.
this was 2008,
Yeah.
probably on. And then what's funny is I met Ellie, and then I realized that Koi was her brother. And then so it just clicked, but even from day one, I treated him like a brother from day one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really cool because I got to see the side that he was able to do things.
Yeah.
And then I remember helping out with the basketball game before we started dating. He was in a
Unified Sports.
Yep.
Yeah.
You did a what was that?
The Dare to Dream Day.
Yep.
That we did at EC
It was a
Glass.
Dare to Dream Day at EC Glass where you got all of the special needs kids together to play a basketball game. And then we had a student section and all that. It was pretty awesome. But I really like where y'all were going when you talk about just having a normal life and allowing your child to have a normal life. If you have a child with autism, it can be done, and it takes certain circumstances that, when they have their blowouts, their tantrums, or get overwhelmed, like those happen. And dealing with those, let's talk about dealing with those. Like, we've talked about all the good times, let's talk about a lot of the bad times. Like, I've been a part of a lot of his meltdowns. The worst one recently was when we were at DC.
Yeah, and my mom just talked about that in the video. That was, Allie was there, Tyler was there, our whole family was there. That was really hard. Like, it was difficult to watch because you're in a public place and you're just like
With thousands of people.
Thousands
It wasn't
of
even
people.
like hundreds. It was
And
thousands of people.
typically, so a little background to
You okay?
a little background to Koi. Koi and my relationship is Koi knows when he needs me. I know when Koi needs me. But there's a fine line that I, as Koi's little sister, I can't cross.
Stinking Ellie.
Stinking Ellie. I could touch Koi and it could just set him off perfectly where it's just a spiral downward. But then there's times where he knows he needs to come to me and I can help him. And that's just where we're at, the boundary that we have set as siblings. And in the specific moment that Tyler is talking about, I knew that there was nothing I could do, that if I were to have stepped in and intervened with my mom, it would have set him off even more. And so as a sibling, it's really difficult to watch because you know that he's not purposely doing that. Koi had it stuck in his mind. I don't know who told him. I think it was Tyler. Tyler probably was the one who stirred the little pot that Koi was going ice skating. But Koi had it stuck in his mind that he was going ice skating, he was going to break his leg. And he went full meltdown at National Stadium in front of thousands. And at the time, there were people watching and there were people staring like, what is going on with this person? I think one of the police officers came up to my mom and was like, do we need to escort him out? And of course, that made it harder on my mom, which made it harder on me, which made it harder on Tyler, which I think at the time when this was happening, Quaid got stopped at the
They
scanning
made me
thing.
throw away my pocket knife.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
So I mean, I don't think they got to see the front of it, but as a sibling,
Don't
it's
remind me of that.
what do you do? What do you do when there's
Yeah.
something like
Like,
that?
I'll say.
Well, you got to think of their sensory items. Like, he loves his baseball glove. Like,
Yeah.
make sure that's on hand.
Yeah.
Just remember some of those things when you're going to be in possible situations where
So,
you could get overwhelmed.
That was a very, very hard day for all of us, and I feel like my mom handled that so as best as she could. But there have been times where, Allie, I feel like you haven't seen as many because he's gotten so
much better.
much better at it.
Better.
We've had times
That
where
and we can get it under control a lot faster
I think
by talking him
he's
through
yeah.
it.
There's a lot of talking it through as a family that we've gotten him to.
Even just talking to him, telling him, I know you can say calm down, but that's not going to calm anybody down. I can't calm you down or me down by just saying that, but talking him through it, being like, hey, we're okay. Like, we're trying to figure out where his mind is at. Like, he thought he was going to break his leg ice skating. Be like, no, let's go sit down. We'll sit in the stands. We're not going to go ice skating.
Yeah.
Then he sat down and he was calm.
And then he didn't want to leave.
So it's
I
just
think
really finding out where they're at in their meltdown.
And
trying to figure out what he has in his mind that is making him break down to do whatever he's doing.
And I think changing the direction that he's thinking and kind of having that
Definitely.
change of pace. I'm not the greatest at it, like I said, because sometimes I'm his little sister, and sometimes I just set it off even worse than it needs to be, and I'll own up to that. But I feel like you do such an amazing job of coming in as that soft-spoken, coy, what can I do? And he really, really latches
Right.
on to that. And
Well,
go ahead.
I feel like a lot of times, especially with Coy, because when we talked about earlier, talked about how we don't look at him as an autistic, disabled person. I think we forget that sometimes. A lot of people do
Yeah, I
forget
think
that.
we do. Yeah.
And so when the meltdown happens, we forget that he can't control it. You said it earlier that he literally can't control it. I couldn't imagine waking up every morning. I mean, I get upset. I go 0 for 3 in a night. I strike out 3 times. I wake up the next morning, I'm upset. But how little is going 0 for 3 when you wake up in the morning, you have to deal with what Coy deals with every day.
Yeah.
So you got to put yourself in their shoes in that scenario and understand that they can't control what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's such an amazing, grace story or testimony story with Coy that he will blow up on an instance as simple as ice skating when there's 1,000 people around, but he'll be also the first one to tell a random person that Jesus died on the cross for him.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think
King is alive.
yeah, the king is coming too. That's what he
Yeah.
says. But I think because of how we grew up around Coy, well, how my parents and I and my sister here raised Coy and been around him and been in family with him.
Hold on. I like how you said raised Coy, how we as a family, because I really do think that it was not just mom and dad raising Coy, but very as much you and me because of our love for Coy and our wanting Coy to feel as normal as possible with the team. I like how you said that. Sorry. You're welcome.
But I just feel it's very humbling to see a person who wakes up every morning and deals with what he has to go through and still finds a way almost every day to praise Jesus.
Yep.
And to me, it's like, wow, who am I?
Yeah.
I sometimes, honestly, I struggle to read my Bible every night, but every morning you hear Coy playing his Gaither vocal band.
Yeah.
So I just think that's a cool
For
little thing.
hours, too.
Yeah.
How
For
he
hours.
can, despite his disability, choose joy constantly.
Always.
Except for when the Yankees lose. And
Or Syracuse.
Or Syracuse.
You
Or-
might pick a different team.
Or
Choose joy.
Yeah.
You might
when
pick
he
a
doesn't
different
get a
team.
Mountain Dew.
Right.
That's a bad day.
Right, it's a bad
That's a
day,
bad
especially
day.
Tyler's running up the hallway or running up the stairs
So
trying to hide.
something that I'm guilty of as the older brother, but I'm the younger brother, is when I pick on Coy and treat him like a normal brother, I also trigger a lot of his sensory items, like his glove. I'll hide his glove just to help him cope with it. Like, yeah, I know it sounds bad, but it is to help him cope with it. And it's my role. I'm the only one who's allowed to do it. He'll freak out for a minute, but as soon as I give it back or I talk to him, help him find it, like I'll even give him directions to it so he has to figure that out and process where it's at and go find it. So, I mean, things like that there's a certain person in that family who can do that.
Major's our audience tonight, and he's nodding his head and moaning over here. So,
but that's definitely something that there's a person in the family who grabs that role of understanding, where his boundaries are and helping him with those boundaries. That's something I do.
And I like how you also said understanding your role as a sibling. You do have a different role.
Yep.
There's a different role. You're not. And I have a hard time with this because I'm a teacher and I'm so used to teaching and being kind of in control of situations, and I've had to really learn how to put that away and be in the role as Koi's little sister. But you have a role. Find your role and understand that boundary. Quaid's role is definitely the calmness to Koi. Quaid knows he can go to Quaid and Quaid will be there to calm him down and to kind of give him what he wants, like the mom does. And
I'm the hype man.
Tyler very much is the hype man, and
Allie's the girl.
Allie's the girl,
Allie's the
and
love
I'm
of his life.
Allie's
Right.
the girl. But even Koi knows if mom's not here, Koi knows I'm the person he goes to because he knows that I'm gonna be there to take care of him. We've all had to do things when mom's not here. We've had to give him showers. We've had to stinky butt, day off poop. Jerry, who is our Chinese brother, he's not here tonight. He's actually out doing stuff for engagement pictures. But he's even had to help with types of stuff like that. And as a sibling, learn to be okay with that because, like Quaid said,
normal.
It is normal. But like what Quaid said, put yourself in their shoes. How hard is it to wake up and know that?
Imagine not being able to take a shower by
Yeah,
yourself.
right? Not being able to take a shower by yourself. You need
You get
someone's
home
assistance.
from a hot, sweaty day and you can't take a shower by yourself. Somebody's got to
Right,
be there to
or
help
you go to the bathroom and you need someone to help you, and you're overly have sensory issues with toilet paper, so you got to use the baby wipes. And put yourselves in your brothers or your sisters' shoes to understand how would you feel if that were you, and what would you need, what would you want? Because ultimately, as a sibling, that is your role. Is how can I serve you best to make your life better and make your life more enjoyable, because I know you didn't choose this for yourself. And I think Quaid said it a while ago too, that sometimes we forget Quaid has autism because we're so used to not disabling him. We're so used to not allowing autism to disable him that we forget that he is disabled because of autism. And
I'm definitely guilty of that. I definitely
I
show
feel like,
the least amount on that one. I show him that he's not disabled as much as I can.
which I think is great in certain situations, but also I feel like
That's why we have him for
yes,
the
that's
softness.
what we have Quady and Girl over here, but
Girl.
but we could talk for hours about all of our memories and all of our stories of Koi. I mean, we have tons, countless of them.
This would be a long video.
It's-
Most of you guys would skip through,
Yep.
but they'd be a lot of funny stories.
Yes.
And I think a good concluding point to how a sibling should be with a disabled brother or sister, I would definitely say would be put yourself in their own shoes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Think about, I mean, it's kind of sad to say that, but think about how that could have been you, and how
Mhm.
would you want other people to help you. Don't get frustrated, but feel like, I need to help them.
And you know what? You are going to feel frustrated. And that's okay, but imagine how much more frustrated your sibling is.
Yeah.
I mean, I get frustrated at Koi all the time, especially when I'm trying to do something and he's fussing at the Red Sox or he's storming down the stairs while we're trying to put Sage to sleep. I get frustrated all the time.
Or FaceTiming 35 times.
Oh, the FaceTiming.
Yeah.
What does he do to you
Oh, yeah.
every 5 minutes?
Yeah, and every time Quaid goes baseball, he takes Quaid's phone, tricks me into thinking it's Quaid and that Quaid needs me because it's during his hitting time, so he doesn't call
knows what
me.
he's doing.
And I answer, and it's, hey,
Hey, girl.
get Mountain Dew.
Go get Mountain Dew, yeah.
Yeah. And he just wants me to tell him, stop drinking Mountain Dews.
Yes.
Drink water.
Yeah,
Drink water.
Unbelievable.
I guess show
Yes.
my water.
Allie's got her security water
Yes,
bottle
I
over
do.
here.
but I won't show everybody.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But like Quaid said, put yourself in their shoes because they didn't choose this. You didn't choose it for them. Your parents didn't choose it for them.
Choose
but
joy.
choose joy, choose hope, and hit subscribe, follow us on.
Yeah, smash that subscribe button.
Hit it.
Don't forget.
Hit the little bell!
For more videos like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on TikTok and Instagram.